Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video of Inside the Mind of a Young Entrepreneur. Today, I'm going to talk about my bulletproof 3-step process for writing killer VSLs every single time. These are the 3 elements that will determine if that VSL is going to be successful. And so let me just start off by introducing you guys to this. Today, what I've been doing is basically just doing some client work, and every time I write a VSL, I always, and I mean always, do research and preparation, because that is the number one thing that is separating great VSL writers to like noobs, people who don't know what they're doing. So that is why this is the most crucial thing. Like, you will see video sales letters where people are just rambling from east to west, and it's all just scrambled together, and there's no real clear outcome, and like, it's just a big mess. Let me just say that. So what I do every time I write a VSL is that I create a document that's called research and preparation. And back in the days, this took me probably days to create real, like, good research and preparation. Like, I would use days to do this, but now it's been better and better and better. And like, this thing, for example, just took maybe 2 hours, and that is the whole foundation for every video sales letter. And you can see by every time you look at a video sales letter, you can see if there's been the proper research. And if there hasn't been the proper research, it will just fall flat every single time. That is just such an important thing to know. But that is why I do this. I write everything down here in this document, and then I will be writing out the video sales letter. Now, I can't drag out the tension anymore, so I will just show you the 3 things that are the most crucial things for building a video sales letter that you know that will be a killer. So first, you need a problem, and that is where we ask the question, like, why should they care? Like, we need a problem. If there's not a problem that we are stating, this will just be a bland thing. Like, people won't care about what we are saying because they don't have a problem. It doesn't relate to them. They don't have a reason to care. And then the next thing that we have is a promise. So what will they get out of watching this? Because in order, like, when people know there's a problem, they know they should pay attention. But why should they watch until the end? And that's why we are making a promise to make sure that people are watching this till the end, and like, they know what they are getting out of this video. Like, they are putting their time into seeing this, and they know exactly what they're going to get from this. And then last, as you can see, the big idea. How are we going to explain this thing to them? And these are the 3 crucial and most important elements for each and every video sales letter. And without these things, it will flop flat. You need to have all 3 in order to pull off a great video sales letter. And that's every time I try to review a video sales letter, a VSL, like, I always look for these 3 things first. What are the problem? What is the promise? And what is the big idea? That is simply what I do every single time when I look at this. So, how I came to the conclusion of these, I had a client where I worked with him, and he already had a good or a great big idea that we could use, and like, it was good. So I just went straight into writing out this video sales letter from the big idea, but I couldn't get the ends to meet no matter what I did. Like, I remember I was using days to write out this video sales letter, and I couldn't make it like good. I couldn't get the ends to meet and feel I wasn't proud of this. Like the big idea was there, but it felt like it was missing something. It didn't have that punch in it that really makes people take action and take action and be motivated to do the things that we're trying to, changing the beliefs that we're trying to change in these videos. That's when I found out I was missing a problem and I was missing the promise. I only had a big idea, but people didn't really know why they should care, and people didn't know what they were getting out of this video. So that was basically why this didn't work for me. Like, I could explain all I wanted with the best big ideas, but if people didn't care about my big idea and people didn't knew what they were getting out of watching this, they would just be left to the next video on the sidebar, watching a Mr. Beast video or watching cats or dance videos and all these distractions. But we want people to know why they should care, what they're getting out of this, and we want to have a clear way to explain that to them. So what I did here, basically this client that I'm doing this VSL for, he's a business mentor and also a mindset expert as well. So this video is basically, the problem is that people have big ambitions. This is in Danish, so the problem is that people have big ambitions and want to achieve big results, but they are constantly self-sabotaging, and they're always trying to take action, but there's something inside them that's stopping them. That's the old stories that they are telling themselves. Now, what's the big promise? What we're going to do in this video is that we're going to show them how they can recognize these old stories that they're telling themselves and rewrite them so they benefit them instead of tearing them down. So that's the promise, what they're going to get out of this video. And then we have the big idea, and the way that we really showcase this is that in this video I'll be explaining how, if you just chop off or cut open a human brain, that in the subconscious, people should imagine that it's one big library with a bunch of books, and there's a librarian that's going out finding these books and sending them up to the conscious mind. And the books are just stories that you're telling yourself, and they're either serving you or they're not. And if they're not, you have to rewrite these things. And this just makes so much more sense for people than me trying to explain what paradigms are and how you tell stories to yourself. I'm really making this visual for people so they really know what this thing is. So whenever they get this problem, they are imagining this librarian walking around inside their brain, finding the book and sending it up, instead of me saying it's your subconscious that's doing this and that. Nobody wants to technobabble. They want to have it clear and visual. So that is why I did that. And now that I know these three things are in place, I know that this thing will convert like a charm. So what are the other things in this document? You'll probably see, one time we'll see a course of this as well, because this is just me building frameworks. But there's a sneak peek right here. Now, what I do as well is that we'll find out their problem and desires. This is basically the overview, so I know exactly what, I can go to this document and get all the information that I need to write just by looking at these three crucial elements. And then if I want to go more in depth, I go in what are the problem and desires. So first I find out what are their desire, what are they telling themselves they want. Then what's their external problem, what can other people see their problems are. And here I'm saying they're doing, they're procrastinating and doing a bunch of different tasks that don't make sense, using hours on emails and checking social media. That's just symptoms. And then we have the internal problem, that is the the problems that happening inside their head, and then the philosophical problem, which is what conflict does these problems create. And then from there we can drive a conclusion to the real desire, almost the desire they didn't even knew they wanted in the first place. So these are just going deeper and deeper and down in layers. And then we want to create duality in VSLs as well. So that's why we do what we call the top of the mountain and the rock bottom. This is something that I learned from Iman Gachi's team. This is basically creating duality where we make the prospect come to the conclusion themselves. We basically just state the best possible scenario and then the worst possible scenario, and the human brain wants to like achieve things, and they don't want to feel like a loser. They don't want to live in loser town. So that's why they're coming to the conclusion that if they want the top of the mountain, be a part of that, they probably should do the things that we are saying, and they are coming to those conclusions themselves. And this is also basically moving towards pleasure and moving away from pain. You've probably heard that before. And then we have a common enemy, and in our case, that is basically these bad stories that people are telling themselves. That is what we do with this client. Like internal problems. I've discovered that. And like the philosophical problem, I'm just explaining what we're doing with this client right now. But like here we're just stating that it's the stories. Like the conflict is the stories that they're telling themselves. And that is also a part of the common enemy. And then we have the one belief, something that I learned from Russell Brunson. And that is like the human brain can't fathom two things at once. That's why whenever we do a campaign or one-to-many sales presentation, anything, we only want to focus on one thing. And for this, it's just about these stories. So we're not talking about all these other things that if you have low self-esteem, if you have struggling with this, and this, then you should do all these things. Like we are only focusing on one thing because that is what the human brain can fathom. And then here at the end, we just have the big metaphor of the librarian, this big story of how this works and how you're going to solve the problem. And at the end, we do an offer. And because this video sales that I'm scripting is just a YouTube video, we'll just like send people over to the main, like this is flywheel strategy, so we'll just send them over to the main YouTube video. But if this was a real VSL, we'll do a stack and slide close. We'll really see how we can pre-frame everything before we ask for the price, and all these levers that we can pull on in order to increase the value of our offer. So that is basically how I do, or how I go about this process of scripting out VSLs. And this has taken me years to figure out how I do this properly. And when I used it back then, found it out like it took me days or weeks to do proper research, and now it just takes me, if I'm fast, probably an hour. Right there, around, like today I used 2 hours, and then I have a clear understanding of how I'm going to write this VSL. What is it going to look like? Like when should I write each part of this? Like I have a clear structure. I know which pain points to touch on. I have the big idea that I'm explaining to people in order to make it consumable for them. I have everything in place. So for me, it's now just about filling out the lead, where I just open. I call it opening the scene. So I'm just opening the scene here and stating what they're going to get out of this and why they should care and who I am and all these kind of things in the lead. And then I go in depth with the like meat of the presentation here in the body, try to overcome objections before I ask for the price, and then at the offer I do the close. And if it's a YouTube video, I'll just round it off and like create an open loop for the next video that we are going to direct them to. That is, in a nutshell, what I'm doing every single time I'm writing a VSL. And if there's one thing you should learn from this video, is that the 3 core elements for a killer video sales letter. And that is, you need to have a problem, you need to have a promise, and you need to have a big idea. That is the 3 things that is so crucial for writing a great video sales letter. And you can almost tell every single time that by missing just one of these things, the video sales letter will flop. So I guess that is it for this video. And on that note, I will see you guys soon. Take care. Peace. Bye.